What's good, everybody? It's your boy Kobe Cole, your host from the Cole from Low podcast, episode 9, bringing you game 5. Well, my bad. Recap of game 4 with the NBA Finals, Boston versus Dallas Mavericks. They forced the game 5. Game 4 is pretty much a blowout. Most of the starters got took out third quarter. Luka and Kai had a good game. Boston starters, not so much. So, like always, I got my boys, Nard, and my OG, Mr. 401. How y'all fellas doing?
Feeling good, feeling great.
Yeah, feeling good, feeling great. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Can't complain. Can't complain. All right, so kicking it off, we're gonna start with my boy Nard. He's a Dallas supporter around here. Dallas forced the game 5 in fashion, blowing out the Boston Celtics in game 4. Nard, how you feel about that? How does you like that boost your confidence going into being a Dallas supporter going into this game 5?
Well, to me, from watching Game 4, I love how the Dallas Mavericks played. Luka Doncic, good game. Kyrie Irving, good game. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but the role players actually showed up. Like, I've been saying it for the last couple of episodes. The role players need to show up. Now, did they score the amount of points like I wanted them to? No. But they did show up at the moment because they couldn't afford getting swept on their home court. And I think Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving will have a big game tonight, and the role players.
So, kicking to you, Mr. Pro One, as us being the Boston supporters, do like that give you a little worry for Boston? Like, I know we wanted to go to a game 5 an extra game, but like, are you worried as like a Boston supporter?
Well, and what you mean by Boston supporter is, we're picking Boston to win the series. I'm a Laker fan, so I
Yeah,
can't,
yeah,
I
we
can't,
picking
I
Boston
don't
to
want
win.
anybody to misunderstand it.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
picking Boston to win the
I
series.
gotta go back. I gotta
That's
get
why.
back to my Laker.
Yeah, that's why I ain't say. That's why I ain't say Boston fan. We're Boston supporters as of right now.
Hey,
We
look, okay,
ain't
I'm
no
good with
Boston
you on that.
fan.
Hey, I'll just do it. Hey, Cole, I understand. I was just doing that to make sure that the people who don't understand don't come after us, or
Yeah,
and
we're
specifically
Lakers
me.
fans.
Yeah, but nonetheless, we are, we're sports analysts, and we call it like we supposed to call it. And yes, Boston, is a team that you and I have been on board with as far as the finals go. Of course, my original prediction before the playoffs even started was Denver versus Boston. So with that said, yes, I'm not concerned about Boston. Boston won 3 straight games in this series. So for them to win the first 3 games of this series, they lost 1 game out of the first 4. I would take that percentage. You know what I mean? They took 75% of the games at this point. So I still feel good about Boston, especially with them getting beat down. Because part of that is Dallas with their backs to the wall, doing everything they have to do, diving for balls. They make great adjustments on defense. I like the way they pulled Lively and they pulled him back, kind of like how we talked about in game 1, where Boston pulled Porzingis back instead of getting involved in the pick and roll, basically playing safety, playing goalie. And so that aspect of their defense was a good adjustment. They also used Gafford more as far as playing straight up on Jason Tatum. That's a bigger body and made it tougher for Tatum to get all the way to the basket. Because we know that they use Luca as a target for target practice the first couple of games of the series. So I'm really not concerned about Boston. If they get blown out tonight on their home court, that's when I'll start having a little concern for Boston. Doesn't necessarily mean we'll get the predictions later on, but to answer your question there, I'm not concerned about Boston just yet.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not really concerned about Boston losing that game 4. They did get blown out, but I don't feel like it was a certain like seriousness. Like I don't feel they took that game serious. Like I know the fans were saying they wanted to bring it back to Boston, and that's he say she say. But I
Yeah.
do feel like they did not take that game serious, and they was ready to go back home and just win it in Boston. But I'm not worried. Now, like I said, we're gonna go into predictions later and like the outcomes. But if they get a win tonight, that's when the worries start kicking in. But as of right now, I'm not really worried because everybody's seen it going game 5. Nobody really seen it getting swept. So I'm not really worried. And swinging it to Mr. 401, he was saying how Tim Hardaway Jr. get some minutes, hopefully step up. We haven't been hearing his name.
Hmm.
And Nard was saying how the role players need to step up for Dallas. They want to win. Tim Hardaway Jr., 5 for 7 3. He attempted 7 3. That's the only field goals he took in that game. He had 15 points. That's the kind of things Dallas needs to get wins on the Celtics. Because like I've been saying, the role players have to outplay the other role players. Because the thing Boston has the biggest on Dallas is they have the better role players. So like, what's our biggest takeaways in from game 4? And we'll start Mr. 401.
Uh, okay, you start. Thank you. I'll just kind of continue off of what I initially was saying about the defensive adjustments by Dallas. Jason Kidd and his staff. I think they did a good job of again using their bigs more on the defensive end, not getting caught up in pick and roll, but using Lively more as a goalie. Now you know with the rules in the NBA, there's a defensive 3 second rule where the defensive player cannot stand in the paint without being within arm's length of a arm's reach of another defender. So what they did was they placed Lively on the outside of each lane, right there on the lane line area, on either side, depending on where the ball is. So I thought that was a good adjustment. Again, Gafford using his big body against Tatum, because Tatum is deceptively tall. He's closer to 6'9", 6'10", with shoes on. And so I think putting Gafford on him was a good adjustment as well. We'll see what they do in this game. As far as Boston is concerned, I think that they're going to continue to shoot threes. They're going to continue to chuck up a lot of 3 pointers, and it's a matter of if it's make or miss pretty much. Their effort has to increase. So for that game, the effort wasn't quite there for Boston, but Dallas' effort was there. They definitely played like their back was against the wall.
How you feeling, Nard?
Like I said earlier, I feel great about the Dallas Mavericks. Now, it did look like Boston just didn't care about this game and wanted to force a game 5 so they can win on their home court. But the Dallas Mavericks in general, everybody played a very good game. Daniel Gafford, Derek Lively had a good game. Luka Doncic, 29 points, almost had 30. Kyrie Irving, 21 points. And Derrick Jones, 5 points. PJ Washington, 6 points. Derek Lively had 11 points, which I really like it because that's showing me that the role players are starting to show up at the moment. And I kept saying Kyrie needs at least 20 to 25 points if the Mavs want to win. I know Luka's doing his thing, but everybody else has to do their thing as well.
Yeah, and I agree. Like the biggest thing is, and as we've been saying for the last couple episodes, the biggest thing is with Dallas, their role players have to step up and bring their air game, ball game. Because when it comes to the Celtics, they're just deep. And we talk about how Taylor got to do as much, Brown has to do as much. And it's not a bad thing. The Celtics as a team in general is just deep. And when it's time to show up, they all show up. If it goes to Luke Kennard, Peyton Pritchard, Kristaps Porzingis, even Al Horford can come give you 5 or 6 threes, which he showed in the Pacers game. So that's how like the biggest thing we'll take away. But like talking about this Celtics team, this is an elimination game. They could be champions tonight. We've been talking about this conversation for the longest. Our top 2 MVPs will either be Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown. So as it ends tonight, one of them probably make a bigger case of who should be found MVP if they win tonight. But as of right now, who will be y'all finals MVP? How you feeling, Art?
I ain't gonna hold you, but I might have to go with Drew Holiday because Drew Holiday has been leading for the Boston Celtics so far in these NBA finals. And everybody is playing off of him.
Who you said? I didn't hear you.
Oh, what I said was that I'm gonna still say Drew Holiday because everybody's playing off of him. Got the experience, won the championship with the Milwaukee Bucks, and I feel like the way he's been playing on both sides of the ball, I feel like he should win Finals MVP.
So even though the way Tatum and Brown is playing, you still feel Drew Holiday's your Finals MVP?
Yes, because when I look at it this way, everybody's playing off of Drew Holiday because he won the championship in 2021 with the Milwaukee Bucks and the experience as well.
I don't think he will win it, but I wouldn't be mad at it. I do feel like somebody get robbed, but I wouldn't be mad at it. It made interesting conversation. But I mean, as far as them next two between Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, I don't think he deserved more than them two. But like I said, it'll make interesting conversation. I wouldn't 100% be mad at it because between Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kristaps Porzingis, and Drew Holiday, them was your top four after conversation who be found MP because the way they were playing. So I wouldn't be mad at that. How you feel, Mr. 401?
Can y'all hear me? You can
Yeah,
hear
we
me pretty
can.
good.
Yes,
We
sir.
hear
We
you.
can hear you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I'm gonna lean. Okay, I'm gonna stay with Jason Tatum. For MVP if Boston wins the championship. He's currently averaging 21 points, eight boards, 7 assists a game. At this point, and let's go back to Game 4. Drew Holiday 10 points. Um, Jaylen Brown 10 points. Jason Tatum 15 points. So there was an opportunity right there. If somebody else wanted to quote unquote take this MVP away from Jason Tatum, that was an opportunity to take it away right there in Game 4. I think that if Tatum can have a big game tonight, I think that's going to solidify it for him because his assist numbers are pretty high too, averaging 7.3 assists a game. I think that's going to help Tatum as well. And he already has the star power, and it's kind of like already starting 2 or 3 steps ahead of the pack anyway, with him being the quote unquote star player. If Jaylen Brown had a monster game as well, I think that would have really put him in the running. But I think that with one more good game, Jason Tatum will be the Finals MVP for Boston. And that's what if I was Jason Tatum and I really was hell-bent on trying to be MVP, this would be the night to do it. If Jason Tatum is the leader of this team, as he claims that he is, this is the night that he needs to deliver for Boston, and he needs to outplay Luca. He needs to outshine everybody and get this done and close it out. So if that happens tonight, I would expect Jason Tatum to hold up that Bill Russell Award as the Finals MVP.
And I agree. And like the thing is, and this is one of the things I've been preaching and saying, Jaylen Brown has scored more points than Jason Tatum. But that's the only thing he pretty much has on him. You can talk about efficiency, you can talk about points. But Jason Tatum's averaging near triple doubles. Jason Tatum, even on the off night, scored more than Jaylen Brown. When he had his 31 points, he scored more. Yes, Jaylen Brown had 30, but Tatum had 31. If we want to get all in the game and be all precise, let's actually talk about the numbers. I feel like it's a little hate with the media going towards Jason Tatum. But if Jaylen Brown do hold up the final MVP trophy, I wouldn't be mad at it. But I do stick with my pick with Tatum all around. I just think he's been a great player. Rebounds, assists, playmakings. If he wasn't having a great shooting night, he showed it with assists. It would have been different if Brown was having a good shooting night, Tatum was having a bad shooting night, and he didn't contribute in other places on the stat sheet. But he did that. And when you go to the games, the difference between Tatum points and Brown points have been no more or no less than 5 points. I think one time he had 3 more points, one time he had 5 more points. And now who's had the most points in the first 4 games is 2-2. So that's how I feel. So I'll still stick with Tatum. I just think Tatum. And speaking of Tatum, he also dropped a quote, which he was asked about in the interview. He was asked about the Finals MVP, and he said the question was, how important is it winning the Finals MVP? Tatum responded, it's important, but it's not the main thing. Isaiah Thomas didn't win Finals MVP every time. Tim Duncan didn't win Finals MVP every time. Larry Bird, Steph Curry only has one. Kobe Bryant has 2 out of 5 championships. As a competitor, you want to win and accomplish everything in front of you, but I would not be the slightest bit sad if I didn't win Finals MVP. I'll be ecstatic just to win the finals. How do y'all feel about that quote from Jason Tatum?
I mean, I'm gonna give. I need to do one of those slow claps, like stand up and just clap real slow, um, because what he's saying is right. I'll let you guys know this that when I was growing up, Isaiah Lord Thomas III was my favorite basketball player who played for the Detroit Pistons, mainly because he's a point guard, smaller player. I'm a smaller player, so I can relate to him. Even though I was a Laker fan and I wore purple and gold Adidas, um, as far as individual player, because my era, you can have a player, but you had to have a team. So I stuck with my team no matter what. But Isaiah Thomas did not win the MVP in one of those finals. Joe Dumars did. But that's a great sign of being a great player when you can help elevate your team and your teammates to a point where they can be in the spotlight as well. The goal is to win championships. And I like that Jason Tatum went back and referred to a lot of those historical pieces. So I'm glad he said that. That shows a sign of maturity on his part, and ultimately it shows that the Boston Celtics are a team, and they built this team to win as a unit. And so no matter who gets this award at the end, as long as they're raising banner number 18, I think Boston's going to be happy with it.
How you feeling, Nart?
Well, to me, it don't really matter if Tatum wins Finals MVP or not because we've seen superstar players not win Finals MVP like you mentioned, Kobe, Steph, and all these other players. I feel like as long as he wins a championship, he will be recognized as an NBA champion. So to me, I don't think Finals MVP is that really important to him.
Yeah, I agree. And shout out to Corey. Yo, what up, Corey?
What's up, Corey?
Just to piggyback out of what Mr. Ford One was saying, I agree. Like Finals MVP, like it shows you the big influence to your team for NBA Finals. But like Nart was saying, also, I'm an NBA champion. You can never take that from me because I have something most of y'all don't. Chris Paul does not have a ring. Multiple players does not have a ring. I have a ring. Carmelo Anthony, no rings. Jason Tatum, if he wins, he has a ring. And it's not that he just didn't win NBA Finals. It'll be a close matchup and it'll be debatable. It's either him or Jaylen Brown. Well, Bernard saying Drew Holiday, others saying Kristaps Porzingis, but it's either him or Jaylen Brown. So it's not like, oh, it's just Jaylen Brown. It's about making it seem. It's a debatable conversation between Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. And like Mr. Performer was saying, it shows a maturity. It shows a maturity from Jason Tatum of who he's really his mindset is on winning the ring. So, like I said, I ain't gonna hold y'all too long today. The game starts in about 20 to 15 minutes. Who y'all got winning tonight? Nard? I'm assuming the Dallas Mavericks.
Yes, sir. I still got confidence in them. I picked the Mavericks to win the finals, and I'm still running with them. I picked the Mavs in 6, but now it's Mavs in 7.
Who you player of the game?
Kyrie Irving.
Mr. 401.
Yes, sir. Oh man. Okay, so I gotta stick to my original prediction, right? So I'll just make that known. By the way, my original prediction is Boston in 6 games. But I'm gonna go ahead and pick a winner for tonight, and I feel like Boston's gonna close it out tonight. So I'll be off on my overall prediction, but as far as tonight goes, to answer your question, Boston will close it out tonight, and Jason Tatum, player of the game.
And I'm assuming also your Finals MVP.
Yes, Finals MVP.
All right, for me, I'm going Boston Celtics. I ain't changing my pick. I'm gonna go Jason Tatum, player of the game. Also, I think he win Finals MVP. I think this is night, and I want y'all to know when they get to games like this, Jason Tatum usually have big games. Game 7 versus the 76ers, boy dropped 50. So The boy might drop 50 tonight, 40, 50. It might be one of the nights my boy might have Deuce on the court side. So just to put that out there, and just to put that out there. And before we end it, Corey said it's not important until he completes the drill, and that's totally understandable. You can't win Finals MVP until you win the championship. So you're right. It's not important at all until you win the championship. Also, he has to complete.
Yeah, and the way they built their team, Cole, Boston. I'm certain that Boston doesn't plan on this being the only finals that they participate in. So get this one in, and then make future finals, and then there's opportunity there too. And as if he doesn't win this MVP, but guess what? Paul Pierce has won Finals MVP, and he's in the Boston Celtics lore. He's one of the greats in Boston history, and he had that one. So Jason Tatum has the opportunity to at least be in the Paul Pierce tier. Then he can try to work his way into the Larry Bird tier, and then from there he can try to work his way into the Bill Russell tier, which I don't think too many people will ever get there, but he can strive for it.
All right. Any closing remarks?
No, sir, but let's go Mavs.
All right. For me, take a look at Boston's 3-point attempts. If they attempt more 3-pointers than Dallas, don't worry about the makes. If they attempt more threes than Dallas, they're going to win this game.
Attempt more threes than Dallas. Not makes. Attempt more threes than Dallas.
Yep.
All right, guys. Once again, I appreciate y'all coming on. Our next episode will most likely be on Tuesday. Either we're going into Game 6 or we have an NBA Finals champion. Thank y'all, fellas. Y'all have a good one.
All right, you too.
Thanks for having me. See you, Nard.
All right, Mr.